up? Delco Steve is here. Hi, Steve. It was doing the weird thing where it wouldn't connect my mic and the headphones, and then I was scrambling.
Did you figure it out?
Yeah, I think so. What's up, Delco Steve?
It's been a great few weeks, buddy.
Yeah, man. We haven't been on. We were scheduled to do we didn't even do a show before the Super Bowl. The freaking kids with basketball, and like tomorrow night there's a playoff game. It doesn't start till 8:00. My daughter's in third grade. It's an 8:00 game.
That's ridiculous.
It's like, all right, so one of us isn't going to see it. Hopefully me, because I'm ready for the season to be over. I'm be honest with you. I was at basketball team tonight.
Weren't you the coach?
No. I did softball.
That's what it was.
Yeah, I did softball, which was a lot of fun. But basketball is. My middle daughter is very good at basketball, and Gianna, who's in third grade, so she steps up with third and fourth graders, and she's short. So she's the shortest kid on the team, and she's playing against fourth graders, and she's in third grade. So you know how that is when you're the short kid. And
yeah, I know all about being the short kid.
As do I. So yeah, it's been and believe me, she's great. She loves practice and stuff or whatever. But and this age, they're finally calling. They actually have reps, and they call traveling and double dribbles and things like that. Like they still travel, but they can't take the ball and run down the court. Like Lena, who's in second grade, they don't call fouls or anything.
They don't call anything.
No, there's nothing.
They let the clock run for 15 minutes, and
thankfully,
I'd say everybody wins.
Well, it's half court. Yeah, they don't even keep score. You're right. It's half court. So they have 2 half court games. Now you step up to third and fourth, and yeah, you're at full court. And on this one team that we played, there's it's the coach's daughter, and the coach looks like he looks almost like when I say Bobby Knight, I don't mean that in a dick way, but like he's shaved head. He's probably like in his mid 50s or 60s, and he just stands over on the sidelines like this, and he barks out instructions. And he's a nice enough guy. He's not a dick, but it's like, bro, you should be coaching in a college, not third and fourth graders.
Yeah, you're not giving any instruction whatsoever.
and his daughter is, they could literally have like toddlers on the team with her, because she just takes the ball to the hole every time and scores, or she shoots jumpers and scores. So
Jaylee's good.
She's very good. So when you see what happens, because they have to sit out, like they substitute halfway through each quarter. They play 4 quarters. They're 10-minute quarters. They substitute halfway. So like they'll build a 12-point lead, and then like my daughter's team will fight back, and they'll get it to within 4, and then the coach's daughter goes back, and it's back up to now 16 points. She sits out half a quarter. We get it down to 10. Now they're up 25 because she plays half the quarter. So it's like, all right, they just toy with us.
Dropping 80 on you like Kobe.
Well, no, they're not that high scoring, but like just to get with the other kids, like just to like be able to almost pull even with them, and then she comes out, and I'm telling like she's so anyway. So yeah, there's been a lot of girls basketball in my life the last couple of weeks, but yeah, the Eagles did manage to win a Super Bowl.
Yeah, side story.
Listen, I know a lot of people have talked about it. It's been, how long has it been? Is it 2 weeks now?
No,
it'll be 2 weeks Sunday.
It's a week. It's 10 days ish. Yeah,
I guess they just had the parade on Friday.
It was the 9th. The game was the 9th. It's been 10 days.
Bro, what year were you born?
91.
Yeah. See, like you're. I don't want to say you're a spoiled Eagles fan, but
I feel like a spoiled Eagles fan. I 100% feel like
you haven't had it bad, and I haven't had it bad compared to like my grandfather, Pop. He used to tell me all the time, the Eagles will never win a Super Bowl, because he believed that, and I believed it too. I never thought the Eagles were going to win a Super Bowl in my lifetime.
Oh, when they lost in 06, and I thought that was it. Like, or what was it? 04, whatever it was. 05. I don't know, whatever.
07 or 08. The Kurt Warner The Arizona game.
No, well, I'm saying, when they lost the first Super Bowl, it was just like, all right, like this, or lost all the NFC Championship games and then lose the Super Bowl. It's like this is never going to happen.
Chance. Yeah, that was the chance.
And then when they lost to the Cardinals, like you said, that was the backbreaker. Like the last.
Yeah, because everybody was overconfident because the Eagles kicked their ass earlier in the year, and it was like, oh, this will be an easy one. We're going to the Super Bowl, and that was a hell of a Super Bowl. Pittsburgh. That was the cat. What's the wide receiver?
San Antonio Holmes.
Yeah, the San Antonio Holmes, because that was a great. But like, you know why the Eagles lost that game? Because Kurt Warner's a friggin' stud.
Yeah, he's a Hall of Famer.
And like that's how much they almost won the Super Bowl right there. So,
did you know he was the highest? Had the most passing, like all the passing stats for the Super Bowl in 3 games.
Is that right?
Until Brady broke them all.
He has a really interesting career because you remember, like, he came out of nowhere, bagging groceries, Super Bowl, and then he got a little bit of an injury bug. I think he had some concussions, and then the Rams regressed because Martz came in and he was an idiot and he shouldn't have been a head coach. And guys got a little bit older, and then he went to the Giants as a starter, and like it looked like he was done. It looked like he was like a bridge quarterback or a 1-year guy that you sign. Eli takes over for him. He goes to Arizona. They draft Matt Leinart. He goes to Arizona, and he takes that job, and he's Kurt Warner again.
Yep.
I mean, like just one of the best quarterbacks I've ever seen, but a weird career, really weird career. But he was great. Kurt Warner was a great quarterback.
It was always fun to watch.
Oh man, I loved how he spun that ball, man. He was awesome. But
that's I want to say like the first Super Bowl I remember watching was Favre against the Patriots. But the first one I legit remember is Rams Titans, like watching the whole game.
Yeah, it was they were explosive, and then you had Brady come in after that, but they weren't big. It wasn't Brady thrown for 400 yards. Brady, it was good defense running the ball, and then Brady obviously has stones and has big playability and big moments. But like my grandfather, the Eagles were so bad in the 60s. And then the early part of the 70s before Vermeil got there, they were the laughing stock. Like the owners are cheap, right? You know what I mean? Like it's just a terrible organization. And then they actually get to a Super Bowl, and then Vermeil's gone, and then you have Buddy and so much freaking talent on. Like, and that's my memories are like really where I became a big Eagles fan was Randall, Reggie, Jerome Brown, like mid to late 80s. But then they didn't win shit. Right? They won 1 playoff game out of that whole run. And it was like, well, damn, man. Like, that sucks. And now it's like, pinch yourself. Eagles one of the best, I mean, easily one of the best franchises in all of football. Look at the team. Yep. Stacked roster. They were winning 34-0 against the Chiefs in the Super Bowl.
Like, the 2-time champs, yeah.
Like, come on. That doesn't happen to the Eagles. It's
like, dude, like, just like, imagine before this, or no, let's go 2-2 in the bye week. I tell you that the Eagles are going to boat race the NFC Championship in the Super Bowl. What do you tell me?
34-0 in the third quarter. Yeah. And I've never seen, it was so fun. It was so fun to see the reaction of that offensive line and Pat Mahomes and Andy Reid, where they're on the sideline being like,
what the?
We have no chance. We have no chance. And then afterwards, what you've seen over the last week, where you see the speeches the night before. If I would have been able to sit in on that meeting the night before when all the players were together and they were giving the speeches and everything, I would have bet every cent of anybody in my family that they were winning. The Chiefs didn't know what hit them. They were already celebrating a three-peat. They had T-shirts. Yep. They were mocking the Eagles because they didn't give up any sacks. After the last Super Bowl they were in, they didn't know what was coming, and they didn't know what hit them. And you know what we saw? We saw Eagles-style Andy Reid. Andy Reid deserves another ring because they ran the same play over and over and over again on offense. And the Eagles were rushing 3 guys were teeing off on them.
Yeah, they didn't blitz. Like, how do you not blitz one time and get over 60% pressure rate or something? Like whatever
through the first 3 quarters before they called off the dogs and the game was over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. Honestly, that was one of my favorite plays of the game was Mahomes shot to Worthy with all the backups in. It's like, okay, now it works. It's like,
great.
Congratulations.
Great. Right. Yeah. Congratulations. Because now this doesn't look as lopsided. And that's why I love when everybody say, like, oh, like that final score, that game was not as close as it even looks.
Absolutely
It
not.
was an ass kicking. And like you hope you enjoy this one. You hope the Eagles aren't riding as confident next year because like year to year in the NFL, man, it is difficult to win back to back. But the Eagles kicked their ass so bad. I mean, like I don't. And the crazy thing is, they still seem to get no respect around the NFL. It's like, oh well, they're the salary cap. Like they just spend so much money, and like no. Anybody could spend a lot of money. Steve, how long have we been talking about how Jeffrey Lurie is the best owner in sports because he actually spends money?
It's like we're literally just over a year into doing this. We've talked about that over a dozen times. Like where it's like
last year.
Yeah, right. It's just like you can literally look at a situation right now with like the Cincinnati Bengals, and they have all these guys that need contracts, and it's like they can't get it done because the owner doesn't want to just pay the upfront money. They want to pay it as they go. And it's just like, nope, Jeffrey Lurie is like, here's the check right now. You want to sign a guy for $50 million? Here's a check for 40 right now. We'll pay the 10 as we go, and the salary cap's nothing. It's like, It's like I said this is the reason why I kind of like poo-poo on I had poo-pooed on Howie being like being the best GM because you have an owner that facilitates it. But it's like, but when you can keep finding the talent, and it works, it's like, hey, I gotta eat you.
It doesn't work unless you have the draft picks because they're not making a lot of money. But if you could because Howie spent the big money on Devontae re-signing him, AJ re-signing him, giving the quarterback the contract. Taquan wasn't a big contract, but still he's making double digits a year, right? Like the offensive line, everybody's paid.
We have what three of the highest paid offensive linemen with Dickerson, Mailata, and Lane.
They're making 20 plus. Yeah. Right. Yeah, Lane's making 30 something, right? Like as he deserves to. So
100%.
You can't, but you can't buy an entire team. You need to be able to draft the way the Eagles drafted. That's why they won a Super Bowl. The defense
half the defense is under 25 years old.
So they're 25th in spending on defense next year, and I think it was 24th this year, and then first on offense. And so like that's one of the reasons why you have to watch what you're doing, even with the cap being bullshit, like we say. You still have to watch what you're doing because Jalen Carter is going to need the big contract. Jordan Davis coming back, even though they were just rookies last year. You have to figure they're going to make a lot of trades.
Dude, I've already been dreaming up the scenario of trading Jordan Davis and picks for Myles Garrett.
Right. Yeah, no, we're not. They're not trading for Myles Garrett. I don't think that they're going to.
I'm not going to say no until it doesn't happen.
I'm not going to say it's a 0% chance. Maybe it's a 5% chance.
I think if you get Myles Garrett, this like run back just becomes like an angry like, oh, like we're going to kill everybody kind of tour.
I think you need to lose to get a Myles Garrett, not win to get a Myles Garrett. If you would have lost the Super Bowl and you're like, you know what, F this, because now they bring in Myles Garrett and he's making $30 million a year and he comes into a locker room. I don't know if he rubs the guys the wrong way or they're like, oh, he's a bait. Like, I don't know enough. Here's what I know.
think him and Jalen Carter just mesh because they would just be wreaking havoc all the time. And why wouldn't everybody love it?
Listen, bro, if you told me that they traded for Myles Garrett, I don't know if I'd be pissed. I don't think it's going to happen, and I don't believe they're going to do it because they just won and they have the top defense. And why would you need to add to that?
Well, you are going to lose a few pass rushers.
So just real quick, because I saw Vince say the cap, and I wanted to bring up
$25 million.
So Bob just said, where's my buddy Bob Pierce here? He said the look on Andy's face was priceless. Right there. That was Philadelphia Andy Reid on the sideline, and I loved it. Clueless, no adjustments, didn't know what hit him. Like, and I like Andy. And after the game, he said congratulations to Nick, and I love Andy. But seeing him over there, like being like, oh my God, I have no answer for any of this was great. Because you know what they could have done? You know what I would have done? And I'm far from a football expert. Pat Mahomes would have been thrown to the running back. Do you remember the Patriots Super Bowl that they couldn't get anything? It was all James White. It was James White, James White, like the whole freaking game. Sometimes that's how you got to get the offense going. And now the defense accounts for the running back and it opens different stuff up. Running pace. How about just running the football? I want to run the football from the onslaught. the Chiefs' offensive line, and this is another thing looking hindsight, and I guess I didn't follow the Chiefs closely enough. Their offensive line was kind of a mess this year.
Yeah, they were playing Joe Tooney, who's an all-pro left guard and left tackle.
Because they had no other option.
Because everybody else they put out there was a turnstile.
Sucked, yeah. That's a problem. So now you weaken 2 spots. And you think about the Eagles' offensive line. You really can't get any younger than their defensive line. You can't get any younger than their defensive line. Explosive. Like Josh Sweat is an edge rusher, and he's a natural edge rusher, so he can get around the corner. But when you're talking about power, explosiveness, athleticism, what the Eagles have on that offensive line on that defensive line is unmatched in the 100%. NFL. And the Chiefs that's what it looked like. They had no chance with that offensive line.
It's just like crazy though when you think about with that defensive line that they I'm not saying they were bad by any means they were bad at any point in the season, but they weren't that. There was a stretch in the beginning of the year where we were like, oh, where is the pass rush? And then it's just the fact that they ramped up all year and then they literally brought out their best performance at the very end of the season. It's just icing on the cake.
It was awesome. Now, as far as the cap, and again, this is something we talk about all the time. I saw a lot of people being like, oh, well, and I was even tweeting about it. I was like, oh, well, the cap went up. So now the Eagles have this much money under the cap and $35 million. And then someone's arguing with them saying no, it's really $31 million. And no, Bradbury's coming off. Here's the reality. Whether they have 30 or 40 or 10 or 15, they
have whatever they want.
They backload the contracts. You can give a $1 million cap hit this year. It doesn't matter. You don't have to have cap. You could have, as long as you're under the cap, and you have enough money to sign your draft picks. The Eagles can't tear up any more of these contracts. They've already done it with everybody else, so they can't do with the restructures. But if they wanted Myles Garrett, they sign up to a new contract. They say, Myles, your cap hit is $10 million for this year. It's $15 million for next year. And they put these void years. The Eagles have $160 million more in void years than team number 2. Did you see any of this stuff?
No,
there's actually teams that don't use the void years.
Well, the Bengals refuse to use it.
So Joe Burrow said, and this is the other thing that's happening in the NFL that I love almost more than anything. Now, everybody in the NFL
is using
other players, from players to fans to media, are saying well, how come the Eagles can sign every one of these players and everybody's making big money? And Joe Burrow, because Joe Burrow's, is he going to lose T. Higgins? He's going to lose T. Higgins.
Yep.
So he said on one of the Barstool shows, might have been Busting with the Boys, he said, no, we need to start doing that. We need to restructure my contract. That would mean that the Bengals would need to give him his money up front. And they don't want to do that. You know why?
They want to be paid as they play.
They want to pay him every week.
Right.
Because they want to accrue the interest and not have to pay that money out. So if they don't do that, and the Eagles do it with all their players, if they don't do that, let's say that's $200 million that they're holding back so they can pay during the season, they're getting high yield interest on that money, which means they're making a lot of money off of that. That's why they don't want to do it. So that's why these teams, they're freaking cheap. Jerry Jones is cheap. He doesn't want to do it. He can do it.
The Chargers GM. Or owner.
Dean Spanos. He don't want to do it. Yeah, you look at it. I probably
a few of them that you could just peg that it's they're the guys.
Yep. Yeah, Mike Brown's been a cheap. They haven't had the right scouting department. They don't have an analytics department. There's a reason why the Bengals have been.
Didn't they have not have a whole section of a front office?
They'd have scouts.
Yeah, it was something asinine where it's just and then they had to and then the players had to pay for the vending machines or something.
And they had to pay for food. Yeah, they're one of the worst organizations ever. Bengals didn't have scouting department. It was something like that, though, right?
Yeah, it was something asinine. It was probably early 2000s, I want to say.
They had the tiniest scouting staff. They had 6 full-time scouts at one point. There were 8 people listed in the player personnel department, but only 6 are fully entrenched scouts. Yeah, so you're going up against the Eagles, and I don't even say the Cowboys.
They have 6 scouts in one region.
The Ravens are a very well-run franchise. The Steelers, although they seems like it's kind of passed them by. Their scouting is what makes them the Steelers, man. They're always trying, they can't draft linemen but they can draft some parts. So, yeah, anyway. Yeah. So don't, trust me. don't worry about cap space. If Howie wants a player, they can get a player. They get a player. Just give them a 6-year contract. You put the big cap hits later, then you restructure the contract, and then you'll see a lot of people saying, "Well, the Eagles are just kicking the can down the road. At some point, they're going to have to pay for that." Not if the road doesn't end. If there's a dead end, then at some point you would have to pay for it. But if there's no ETA, there's no estimated time of you just keep kicking it down the road.
Well, if you keep hitting on, like you said, if you keep hitting on your picks, you just that makes it so you can move out those higher paid guys and keep the young guys on the lower rookie contracts. It's the same thing as having a rookie quarterback, but just having a rookie wide receiver for 4 years would be better than having AJ Brown 4 years from now.
Let me tell you something, Delco Steve. Two schmucks that are doing a YouTube show on Wednesday nights. A year ago said any team could do this. The Eagles are buying everybody because Jeffrey Lurie spends a lot of money to do it. We recognize it. I swear, the national media is just discovering this right now. It's pretty funny to see in real time.
But it's I feel like a lot of people just have no idea how this stuff works. I feel like you and I, if we weren't Eagles fans, we would understand this either way. But the fact that it's right in our backyard and we get to be that again, that's why for years I was like, Howie's not that great because the owner just goes, yeah, here's the checkbook. It's just, it's a perk of makes him a good GM at the time. I'm done. Obviously, I'm done with that argument, but it's just but if we were sitting in Cincinnati, you and I would be freaking out that our GM isn't be able to do anything these days because our owner's a cheapskate.
I would. And you wonder if Cincinnati, they're just they know that he's a loser, and it's you just have apathy that sets in. But now you have a world-class quarterback, and you have
I wouldn't be able to do it. I'd be losing my mind.
So Vince, do you know when you get hurt doing this? When you don't draft well. What did the Eagles not do for a number of years? They didn't have a lot of draft picks, and they didn't draft well. They whiffed, right? And the cap did go down, so that also hurt them.
They traded up for Carson, so they sacrificed all the picks. But then you look what they did when they got all the picks back from trading Carson. They hit on all those picks.
That's all time.
Yep. So 2021 hurts when you don't have the guys to replenish it.
Barnett, Sidney Jones, Rasul Douglas, Matt Collins, Pumphrey, Shelton Jones, he's this old Sixer. Shelton Gibson, Nate Jerry, Elijah Qualls. That's your 17 draft. So in 2020, those guys are supposed to be starters making contributions. And
that was I hate that draft place. That's the draft place with all the stud running backs. And we had Darnell freaking Pumphrey.
18 was good. Dallas Goedert, Vontae Maddox, Sweat turned into a good draft pick. Jordan Mailata. But then you had Dillard, Arcega-Whiteside, Sharif Miller, Clayton Thorson. Clayton Thorson was so bad. So you have 2 or 3 drafts where you got, and Miles Sanders was in 2019 and he was good, but still, it's he was a run. He was a good draft pick.
We had a lot of conversations this week talking about how when that draft happened, everyone being like, "Oh, he's just as good as Saquon, but he didn't get to play because he was Saquon's backup." And I'm like, "Yeah, I would love to hear everyone that said that to me tell me that now after Saquon's season with the Eagles."
There's nobody saying that.
Yeah, but everybody was saying. Everybody that was a Penn State diehard around here was saying that.
Yeah. We understand the Penn State diehards. You just kind of pat them on the head. But they made the championship game this year, so at least they have a little bit.
Yeah, that's true.
All right, so let's listen to these drafts. Jesus, remember when talk radio used to be, Howie, just draft every player from Alabama. What are you doing? Why are you drafting these smaller schools or these bad schools, these mid-majors? Draft the players from the good team. So I'm telling you, the Eagles are influenced by WIP and the callers. So what do? They start drafting the players from the good schools, right?
Yep.
Devontae Smith. Listen to this effing draft, man. 2021. Devontae Smith, Landon Dickerson, Milton Williams. Your first 3 picks. Jesus Christ.
All studs.
Major contributors on the Super Bowl team.
I'm going to be so sad. I'm going to be so sad when Milton Williams goes.
Well, that's our next conversation here. But yes, I would agree with you. Kenny Gainwell was in the 5th round. Backup running back who's a contributor. Fine. Unbelievable. Yeah. And no one else really did anything on that draft. But you get 3 players that are Milt Williams is probably going to leave. But Landon Dickerson is going to go down as He just won a Super Bowl. You realize what happens when you win a Super Bowl and you play 10 years here of your career. You're an all-time player. Right now, we're witnessing a team of players that are going to be revered in this city for the rest of our life and the rest of their lives.
Couldn't agree more.
2022, Jordan Davis, Cam Jurgens, Nakobe Dean. And Nakobe Dean's turned into a really good player. And I'm worried about the injury. And more on that in a second. Jordan Davis,
He's fine.
Like,
he's fine.
He's
had his flashes, but
he's
like
not a bust.
Yeah, but if you told me he was a 3rd round pick, I'd also believe you.
Yeah. Like you want more from him, but he's not a total bust.
We also traded up to get him in that too.
I know.
So that's another rough thing.
It has not been a great draft pick. And I
don't think he gets the 5th-year extension.
So I think it was Kemsky that wrote about that because they have to decide by May whether or not they're going to give him that. And it's not guaranteed. It's only guaranteed against injury. So they don't have to, it doesn't guarantee his contract. Kemsky brings up a lot of good points to why they probably will. 1st round draft pick. They use the draft picks to trade up. And they also may think that like, hey, he still has his best year coming up. And it's a matter of when it happens. He's too big. He's too strong. He's too athletic. You
could also fall into like what Washington did when they didn't give Allen the option, and then he pops off for 13 sacks or whatever it was. And I think they did the same thing with Payne. I think they did the same thing with Payne and Allen back-to-back years.
Yep. Jordan Davis he was good. He had a sack in the Super Bowl, didn't he? Or he sacked in the championship game.
He had a sack in the Super
Bowl. Baldy loved the Dickerson pick. So let me say, I hated it. I hated it too. I was so mad.
Yeah, he was coming up the ACL.
But he was constantly injured in college.
Yep.
And I knew they weren't going to use him at center because he's too damn big. But I do not like injury-prone players. And what we just watched him do, he was injured in the championship game in the Super Bowl, but it didn't stop him from playing.
Nope.
His knee was effed up, dude. He played. He's awesome. I love Landon Dickerson.
Did he miss his rookie year, right? Or majority of
it? He might have missed some time. I don't think so. Hold on. Where is it? Landon Dickerson. I have it right here. He played 14 games. He started 13 games.
Okay.
And then he hasn't missed a game since.
Really?
No, because he sat out. Well, he might have missed one last year, 2023, but he sat out like everybody sat out at the end of the year.
Right.
So I don't.
He didn't miss any meaningful time.
Dude, he is a 3-time Pro Bowler in his first 4 years, man.
Dude, well, he was he wasn't he the first like over 20 million a year.
He was the highest paid. He was the highest paid guard for a little bit before the next guy took him. More on that in a second. And then the 2023 draft, like, you got to be kidding me with Jalen Carter and Nolan Smith. Dude, Jalen Carter's a monster. What the hell with Nolan Smith?
Dude, he just turned it on.
Bust watch, man. I had him on bust watch at the beginning of this year.
Yep. 100% couldn't agree more. I was the whole time every mock that I saw in that draft said, like, if the Eagles don't get Carter, they're going to take Nolan Smith at 10.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I am going to be disgusted if that happens. And then like, all right, they took him at 30. I don't care. It is what it is. It's like, if he's that high of a grade and then you get him at 30, fine. And then you watch all last year and it's like, oh my God, like we knew it. And then, hey, and we're wrong again.
Dude, Jalen Carter and like the double punch to the face of Pat Mahomes in the Super Bowl and the Milt Williams strip sack, the force that he hit him with, this dude, and you need this on good defenses. You need mean dudes with an edge, and he's a mean dude with an edge, and he's got screw loose up there, and I don't mean it in a bad way, in a good way. That's the kind of guy you want on your defense. And he may get fined, he may get suspended, he may
he's going to cross the line. He's going to cross the line a few times in his career as the Eagles.
Yeah. He sure is. Oh yeah, and I'm here for it.
Yeah, but like you got to have a guy like that where everybody's just scared to go at him. Like,
yep,
it's like that's gonna influence the game whether he is productive or not. He's good. Like if he gets the Aaron Donald, you could look at a stat line for a game.
He's Aaron Donald.
it's like he doesn't have a sack, he doesn't have a tackle, he doesn't have anything. But then you watch the highlights of the game and he's getting triple teamed every play. It's like, all right, well, other people are going to be able to do things if he's getting triple teamed.
And that's why they're going to let Josh Sweat leave, because like Josh Sweat's going to get paid 20 around a year, and the Eagles are like, yeah,
thank you.
And by the way, I thought Sweat was fine this year. I think he was great, right?
Like, yeah, no, his best year was the first year of the contract extension.
Man, yeah, like he was good this year. I'm not trying to complain, but we're not paying you $20 million a year, $15 million a year.
Back to Jordan Davis for a second. The only reason I would say that they might not consider giving him the 5th-year extension is because they're going to be able to give Carter his extension after year 3 next year, going into Jordan Davis's 5th season. So
yeah,
it's like I think they would want to lock Carter up early, like the Cowboys should with like Micah Parsons. Now it's like I don't think we'll fall into that same trap. I think we'll pay Carter after year 3.
Do you know why you pay him? Because the market rate is the market rate.
It's going to just go up. It just goes up.
It just goes up. You sign him early because you know what happens when you sign him? Then the next guy that comes along gets more money.
Yep.
Because you always got to make more money.
It's the same thing with the Cowboys and Dak Prescott. They paid $5 million extra because you let 4 guys sign for $55 million a year when you could have signed him for fucking $45 million
CeeDee Lamb earlier. They're doing it with Micah Parsons right now. They've done it twice with Dak, where they just like, if you say like, you know what? Yeah, we want him here for another contract. You sign him. Where the Eagles don't nickel and dime anybody. Like it's unbelievable. These teams are so stupid.
And if they mess it up like they did with Carson Wentz, they figure out a way out of it. It's not like we're not the teams like the Broncos that eat a Russell Wilson contract or the Jets that eat Aaron Rodgers contract. Like that Carson Wentz contract was atrocious. There was like poison pills in that thing and everything, and he still got a 1st-round pick for it and got out of it. Like, hey, it's like all you have to do, like you can just pay these guys and then maneuver your way out of it after the fact.
Yeah. Yeah, and then you're exactly right. So when you don't have guaranteed contracts, then they don't sting for as long. And then we'll end with this, or the draft at least. Like Delco Steve, are you kidding me? Quinyon Mitchell, Cooper DeJean, Jalix Hunt, Trot Jr. looks like he could be a good foundational piece down or whatever. But seriously, Cooper DeJean with everybody talked about this dude. And it's like he could be a 1st-round draft pick, and it's like the Eagles might be interested. And then they take Quinyon Mitchell, and it's like, oh, well, I guess. And then DeJean falls out of the 1st round. Have you seen the stories of Jeffrey Lurie? Jeffrey Lurie said he couldn't sleep after the 1st round that night because he was saying, how are we going to get Cooper DeJean? And friggin'
I haven't seen this.
Yeah, no, I should find it. I don't know if there was. I read something about it. I don't know if there's a video, but so Howie manages to weasel a trade with Washington. Our own division mate gave us Cooper DeJean. He moves up and grabs him, and then you have Jalix Hunt, who they're going to need him because they're going to need guys at defensive end.
I was going to say we're going to be lining up at the defensive end next year with. Oh my God! Why am I just playing? Sweat gone and Graham going to retire, and
they need defensive ends. Yeah,
and Nolan Smith is still not that big, so who knows if he can keep up for the whole year.
It's like pinch me, Delco Steve, pinch me. So I'm just trying to pull up this Lurie thing right here, where he said, we never thought Quinyon Mitchell would be a possibility where we were drafting, and the irony was that is we had another player with an equal grade, and he was talking about Cooper DeJean. We made a commitment to do everything possible to get Cooper. We never thought it would be possible. So they got both players that they wanted. It's unbelievable, man. You kidding me?
It's definitely like one of those things. It's definitely one of those moments where it's like, how did the league let us do this?
Yeah, what were they doing? Why would anybody trade with Howie so he can go up and get Cooper DeJean? What are they thinking? Dude, if Howie Roseman called me trying to trade up to get a player in the 2nd round, I'd be like, no, go away.
I always am curious how that works. It's just if you call someone and be like, yeah, I want to trade up, and it's like, well, who do you want? That's what would be my first question. It's so I'm not trading to you if you want someone that I'm interested in, but if you tell me it's this guy, but then it could just be a lie anyway.
But
I don't
but
know.
but the point is, he's trading up for a reason. He's not trading up because
Right.
there's a player there he doesn't want. It's clearly
No, I
somebody
know
that he
that.
wants. I
Yeah,
ain't
but
trusting that Weasel Howie. That's for sure.
it's just like if you don't care about the guy, then it's like, oh, you don't mind if they move up. But if it's someone you're eyeballing that even later on, I don't know. It's you can't assume that he's drafting the whole freaking lineup, you know?
I do not believe they'll extend him. They may extend him before the actual 5th year, but they have to decide on the option in May.
Yeah,
I guess
no,
that's what we're saying.
They
Like, they're
won't
not going to
extend.
give him a contract extension before that. I wouldn't. I need to see him play another year. If he has a great year, then you talk contract extension with him. You know, Milton Williams is going to make a lot of money because he didn't. The Eagles were trying to sign him at their price, and Milton Williams said, "Nah, I'm going to bet on myself." Next to Jalen Carter, I'm going to go out and have a bang up season. Meanwhile, he's 2 friggin' sacks in the Super Bowl. Josh Sweat has 2.5 sacks in the Super Bowl. You know, their price just went up, and it's like, man, they hit the lottery. So good.
Yeah, our 2 free agent defensive linemen just, of course, like it could be Jalen Carter with the 3 sacks in the Super Bowl or something like that.
All right, so that leads us to free agency. So let's go over it. Well, how do I want to do this? All right, well, since we talked about Milton Williams, and we didn't even talk about this as well. Milton Williams, I believe, has priced himself out of Philadelphia. And I'm not going to be crazy and say he's getting $100 million or something like that. But when you have a player like Jalen Carter, a guy like Milton Williams is probably let's say above average starter. Like, he's above average starter, Milton Williams. He's a really good player. You don't pay him $20 million a year, $18 million a year. You have Jalen Carter. So you need to find.
Well, yeah, you're gonna have to pay Jalen Carter
$30 million a year. Yes.
Probably more.
So so your tackle, and you have Jordan Davis as well. So it's not like you don't have Jordan Davis and you can say, all right, we're going to play Milton Williams. No, like, you have Jordan Davis and he was the first round draft.
And I have no idea how to pronounce his name. I'm not even going to try the
Ojimo.
Like, I love him as a defensive tackle too. So
I agree.
Let him move up.
Ojomo. That Milton Williams is not coming back unless there's no market for him, and there's going to be a market for him because he's a good player, right?
And he's young.
So you agree that Milton Williams is not coming back?
Correct.
You agree that Josh Sweat isn't coming back?
Unfortunately, correct. Florida State boy leaving the locker room. Never like that.
Well, like I had a couple people tell me that, like we talked about Jalen Carter earlier. Yeah. You're getting one-on-one, and they're so worried about Jalen Carter, and he's pushing the quarterback back because he's coming up the gut, and Sweat's running right into him.
If you made me pick, though, if I had to, like, between the two of them who I want, I'd rather keep Milton. I think Milton's a better player than Josh.
I agree. I would too. And he's going to probably cost less money. Yeah. Bond will be back. More on that in a second. Yeah, Hargrave will be available.
All right. Because the Niners are cutting him.
49ers cut him. Yeah, Eagles made the right move, and Hargrave was on a Super Bowl team, not that won, but he was still good. He just got injured a couple times. But that was
I don't blame Hargrave for taking that money for the Niners.
Big contract.
I think we got him under market value when we signed him from the Steelers because no one really knew who he was.
No, they got a great contract.
He deserved to take the bag from the Niners.
Yeah, no, it was a great signing by the Eagles, and it was a great move to not re-sign him and let him go to 49ers because he was a good player when he was here. He was a sackmeister. He gave them everything they needed, but they drafted a guy that replaced him and was fine, and it was good. All right, so let's talk about this because this is it's just right up my alley with my buddy Shefty. I should find the sound, but we won't do that. So Adam Schefter went on with Andrew and John Kincaid today and said that, and let me bring up the quote so I can bring up exactly what Shefty said. Now keep this in mind. All right. He's a regular. He comes on every week. It's a good spot for the Fanatic because he says stuff like this. And he says stuff like this. So it's like it gets people talking. It gets them headlines. It gets people saying like, oh, Schefter was on the show. God, they tweet a lot without saying a lot. Let me see this. All right, here we go. Mekhi Becton. No. But anyway, he had said that Schefter had said that that Becton, he wouldn't be surprised he was coming back. I think there's a real chance that he winds up staying. Now, that quote, I think there is a real chance that he winds up staying, turned into Adam Schefter's guaranteeing that Becton comes back, or Adam Schefter's predicting that he comes back. That's not what he said. I want you to listen to what he said closely, okay? I think there is a real chance that he winds up staying. All right, so let's think about what he's actually saying there. I think there's a real chance. I think there's a real chance that I could work in radio again. I think there's a real chance that a lot of things could happen, right? What is he actually saying when he thinks that there's a real chance? Like, yeah, I think there's a chance that Becton comes back. Maybe there's not a market for him. Maybe the Eagles have more interest than I realize they do for Mekhi Becton. All right.
I got a scenario for him, though. If you're still laying out your plausible, go ahead, continue.
No. I'm just saying, like, so Adam Schefter says, I think there's a real chance that he winds up staying. All right. Did he say, I think that he's staying? No, he said he thinks that there's a real chance.
Yeah, they're going to make an effort to bring him back.
So I think he's off base in what he's saying, but what I'm saying is I don't think he's saying. So let me say what I have to say about Becton, and then you can counter or disagree or agree with me, and so can the chatters. All right. Mekhi Becton was a really good signing by Howie. He came from the Jets, a terrible organization. He was a high first-round draft pick. He was a major disappointment. They didn't exercise his fifth-year option. I wouldn't have either if I was the Jets, right? And he comes in to an organization, one of the top organizations in the NFL, one of the top offensive lines in the NFL, one of the top offensive line coaches in the NFL. He comes into a place that has culture, and all he has to do is fit in. He doesn't have to come in and be the guy. He doesn't have to come in and be the best offensive lineman. Seriously, like, there was very little expectation other than they signed him to a one-year contract and he was going to compete to be the starter, and he was the starter, right? No expectation, no pressure, no nothing. And by all indications, he played well. And excuse me, everybody out there, do you really know how well he played on the offensive line? Right? Like, can you break down how good he actually was? You're next to Lane Johnson. You're next to Juergens. You're next to, you know what I mean? Like, he came into a really, really good situation. And I'll say he played great this year. All right. But when you have to pay everybody else on your team, Howie Roseman's job, and one of the things that makes Howie Roseman a great GM, is that he doesn't have to pay Mekhi Becton $10, $12 million a year to come back, because that position is a revolving door position. They draft somebody in the mid rounds. If he ends up being a player, he can be the starter. They bring in somebody on a one-year deal, a veteran, and he can be the starter. Is Tyler Steen the starter this year? Do they use a first round or a second round or a third round draft pick to come in and compete with Tyler Steen? Do they go out in free agency and sign the next Mekhi Becton to a one-year contract? That's what that position is for. It's not to overpay for Mekhi Becton. I'm sorry. I would be shocked if the Eagles signed him. If he doesn't have a market and he comes back and he says, okay, I'll do a 1 year, $8 million contract. Like, okay, I could see that. They ain't giving him $10 million a year to come back. He's not like that is not what that position is for. I would be shocked if he came back if Mekhi Becton was an Eagle next year.
All right.
And I think Adam Schefter's full of shit and he doesn't know, is what I think. But go ahead.
I definitely agree with you on that premise of that position on right guard, where it's just like, all right, you just kind of just fill it in. But the scenario that I'm running through my head is Becton, like you said, was I think he was drafted 11th overall tackle.
To be a tackle, yes.
So he was a right tackle at Louisville, and Louisville and New York.
Lane Johnson. Lane Johnson.
Yes. So if you could get Becton to agree to like a team-friendly-ish deal, with the idea being when Lane retires, you're kicking him out to right guard or right tackle. Then you go back to your turnstile at right guard. He's 25 years old.
I know he is. No, but see, Steve, you're making the case for why he's not coming back. He's 25. He's 25 years old.
I understand.
He has the first round pedigree and talent. I'll let you finish.
I'll
let you finish. He has the first round pedigree and he's 25 years old.
Yes, he's
not
get
taking
the bag.
a team-friendly contract. That's not the way it works.
I understand that. But I'm just thinking maybe maybe in the right scenario where a team you just won the Super Bowl that you feel gratitude for, it's like, I want to be here. I want to be a part of this. I want to be the guy that's here for 10 years playing right tackle after Lane dies. Retires. And
you're killing Lane. All right, so hold on. So let me counter the Lane. Let me counter the Lane thing. And believe me, I've seen a lot of people saying this, and I'm not saying it's stupid, but let's look at it a little bit closer.
Because you're going to have to find his replacement.
Okay. Do you really though? Realistically, with Lane Johnson, okay, Lane Johnson now. Lane Johnson right now he's 34 years old. He'll play next year at 35. So he plays 35. Okay. I'm going to state this, and I'll bet anybody any amount of money. He's got minimum 3 years left in the NFL with the Eagles. Minimum. I know it's been.
I would Lane to play forever. I think he's amazing. So.
I know with the mental health stuff or whatever, and he's talked about retirement. He hasn't talked about retirement a lot recently. He's playing at a top level. He's making quarterback money. He's good at. He's 35, 36, 37. If he gets banged up and starts getting injured, there's no way he's only playing 2 more years. So I'm not worried about signing anybody to replace Lane Johnson. Maybe in the draft you lean there and you say, okay, he's a tackle. We move him to guard. He starts at guard, then we swing him out. I'm not signing friggin' Mekhi Becton because Lane Johnson's 35.
I'm not saying overpay Mekhi Becton. I was just saying if you could get it to the point where it's a feasible number for 2 years, then you do it.
I'm a dick. I don't care that he was crying on the field with his kid. I thought it was a great moment. I loved it. I do. He can come back for every anniversary, and I love the big fella. I love him. I do. I don't care. Like, he's not coming back. I'm not playing these games.
Fair.
He's not coming.
Fair.
He's not coming back.
I like him, so I want him back.
Which leads to Zach Bond, who I'll say this.
You're not going to like my theory on this one either, then.
No? Oh, there's a lock he's coming back.
No, I think he's coming back too, but I think he should take less money than what he would get because he would be getting nothing if Vic Fangio didn't make him into what he is.
But you know what he should do? He shouldn't. Remember when Baker Mayfield in Cleveland, and this is like not a great example, but Baker Mayfield in Cleveland, he was like, it gets to the point where now it's like, okay, we got to start talking about our next contract, right? As he's nearing the end of his rookie deal. And he was pretty good in Cleveland. He wasn't great, but he was pretty good. He wasn't bad.
They made the playoffs.
They did.
They don't get to say that often in there.
But what you start seeing with the Shefties and all the pawns that get used by the agents is, like we're looking at the biggest quarterback contract in league history. And it's like, whoa. You're not that kind of quarterback, man. Don't overvalue yourself. Don't overplay your hand. Don't act like that because you're not Pat Mahomes and you're not going to be Pat Mahomes. And you're good, but you should be going and taking a market deal for what you are and staying and playing well. Instead, the head got too big. He started doing commercials and it all blew up in his face. Now, it hasn't worked out for Cleveland, but Baker's done very good getting back to Tampa, and Baker's turned himself into a really good NFL quarterback. So it's not, but like with Zach Bond, to your point, hey man, you go to another team, are you the same type of player? Realize that
he thought he was an edge rusher all off season.
Maybe you take a little bit less because you were really good here, and you may not be the same player if you go somewhere else. So like with Becton, I think Becton would take a little bit less money to come back here, but a little bit less money or a lot less money. He ain't coming back for a lot less money. So people need to get that pie in the sky crap out of here. It ain't happening.
Can't you say the same thing with like Bond on a way bigger scale? Because first team all-pro linebacker is probably going to get $18 million, $19 million on the open market.
Yeah.
I mean, like Becton at least isn't like you can at least put some holes in his resume with the Eagles this year where he missed a few games. He missed snaps.
I also honestly,
he wasn't an all-pro player.
I got to talk to Baldy. Like, was he really all that good? Right? Like, I'm not trying to say it was crappy or anything like that, but how do you know that he really deserves all this? He was on a line with 4 studs.
Yeah,
right? Like if Steve
fair.
was in there, would he have done
there was
as well? I don't know.
there was a few of those highlights that Baldy tweeted out with him just steamrolling people.
The run blocking, bro. I love watching him run blocking.
Dude,
do you remember the Rams
he just
game?
crushes dudes.
He took a 230-pound linebacker
like
on
8 yards off the line.
Bro, no, he threw him like a rag doll. He looked like he was double his size because he was nearly double his size. Now, like, I'm not trying to disparage him. I love the dude. I do. I just like when after
I fully understand the point you're getting at. It makes sense. Like it's a logic. Like you have 4 great players that could cover up for one. It's like you saw that with Steen in there. Like the line wasn't as good with Beck as it was with Beck in there, but it didn't fall apart with Steen in. Like
they were fine.
No, they were fine. Like you said, they were fine. But it's just when you had that kind of road grader in there, like just to bulldoze people, it's just awesome to watch.
It is. Maybe I'm undervaluing what the Eagles think of Mekhi Becton, and that very well could be the case. But that's my opinion. So Becton, and this was on Spot Track. Becton's 4 years for about $41 million. Sweat 3 years for $56. Vaughn 2 for 19.5, and then Milton Williams 3 for 36. I think they're off on 3 for 36 with Milton Williams. I think he gets a little bit more.
I think he gets more than that. I think he gets closer, like over. I think he gets over 40.
And really, the guaranteed money is all that matters. So, like, let's say Milton Williams gets 3 years and $40 million. He probably gets nearly 25 guaranteed. So it becomes really a 2-year contract where if it doesn't work after 2 years, they take a cap hit and cut him. A lot like Hargrave. Hargrave's contract, he didn't play out his contract. They cut him because he's making too much money, and he wasn't worth it.
And he missed 75% of the game.
He was injured. He was injured. Kenny Gainwell is projected. He's a free agent. He's projected to make 1.6. Would you bring him back?
No, I think Shipley fills in that role.
They love Kenny Gainwell, man. I'm fine with Gainwell coming back. I like Gainwell.
It's whatever. I think Shipley will be a better backup running back than Kenny Gainwell is.
Dallas Goedert also has no more guaranteed money.
I love Goddard. I would resign Goddard.
So do you know what I think you do with Goddard? I think you give him some guaranteed money and you extend them for another year because the window and you draft his replacement. But
if you could get someone like if Hallie pulls off some bag, oh dude, that's the only Penn State player I want ever.
They're not getting Tyler Warren as much as I would like to believe. But by the time the draft, we'll have ESP will be saying they're getting Tyler Warren or something like that. But
dude, he would be oh my god,
you won't have to.
I can't even say the things I want to say.
He's a monster. He's awesome. Yeah, I think Garrett or Goddard. Well, you make him happy. He just won a Super Bowl. He's a monster. He can't stay healthy. But like they don't have a ready replacement. I like Calcaterra as the second tight end, but draft his replacement now, and then your window. That window is still wide open. You're better with Goddard there. Not worrying. Remember what happened with Zach Ertz? He wanted another contract. He wanted more guaranteed money. And the Eagles didn't want to do it because they had Dallas Goedert. Well, They don't have Dallas Goedert's replacement right now. They don't have Dallas Goedert that they just drafted in the second round a couple years ago. So I think you got to keep him around for another couple of years.
Yeah, like hypothetically speaking, if they drafted like Brock Bowers, like if Brock Bowers fell to them and they drafted him last year, then see you Goddard. Like that's an easy decision,
right?
But
they don't have his replacement.
I just don't, but I also think it's like tricky with like tight ends too. It's like when you have a good one, you shouldn't just toss him away. Like Goddard showed he was gonna be good when they let Ertz walk. I wouldn't let Ertz or Goddard walk. Be like, oh, and then I signed this guy. This is gonna work the way it's supposed to work. No. It doesn't always work like that.
Yeah, I don't want a free agent sign tight end. I want to draft them and develop them. They just seem to be better when you do that. Otherwise, you get Gesicki's and Hunter Henry's and those.
You get guys that are good at particular things, but they're not well rounded.
Dallas Goedert's a monster in the run game. Absolutely, man. Yeah, he's good in the run game. So it's important to bring him back. Guessing Slay's gone, and then Vince says Slay needs to be back too. I think Slay's back. He has no more guaranteed money, so
he's going to want. He needs money if he's.
But it's not going to be a lot though. He knows that this is near the end. He talked about retirement. He's not ready to retire.
Well, didn't he say he wants one more year, and whether it's in Philly or not?
Yes. And I think
So,
it should
if
be
you're
here.
if you're telling me that's the case, then fine. He can be back for 1 year.
Bro, he had a good year, man.
I'm not saying it that way.
Mitchell,
I just don't want to get into like a Bradbury situation where you sign him to
totally
he's
understand.
like 2 or 3 years and then you're screwed.
No, if he's looking for the biggest contract and he wants to test free agency, then I'm probably letting him walk. But if it's a mutual thing, like, hey, listen, I'm not coming back for peanuts, but you're not going to have to make a 4-year commitment to me. Like, let's just be like, he was so good when he had a younger, faster. He was more physical this year, Slay. Like, I know he left it seemed like every game with an injury, but he came back in a lot of those games. No, you are so much better with Slay on that defense than without. Because I would rather still, with Cooper DeJean, have him in that hybrid role.
Yes,
Slot,
agreed.
safety.
I don't need him.
Corner.
I don't want him as an outside corner. I want him to be. I want him to be like Tyrann Mathieu.
100%. Play the slot. Play some safety. He's got ball skills. He's a ball hawk,
rover,
physical. Yeah, man.
I want him to be a weapon on defense, not just I'm trying to shut down half a field.
Somebody said it earlier. He's the new Chase Utley of Philadelphia, and it's such a great comment. He really is, man. He's awesome. Who are we leaving out here? Because it's just like kind of the wave of. Bob brings up a good question. Isaiah Rodgers. I mean, if there's a market for him, I'm not bringing him back.
Yeah, agreed.
It was fine as a backup.
Yeah, but you didn't notice him when he was on the field, so that's the best part about him as a backup corner. I don't want to see you getting burned every time you come into the game.
Yep. Yeah, for sure. He was good. So I would bet that Slay comes back for one more. Like you if he's not ready to retire, then like bring him back. He just won a Super Bowl and he's still good. So you don't have to you know what you're getting with Slay. I'm not comfortable with what they have in-house. They would have to go out and sign somebody. I don't want to do that. Bring Slay back. Now, I think BG, and if BG wanted to come back for another year, come on back, brother. And he might.
I think you got to take the Peyton Manning, Ray Lewis, John Elway at that point. It feels
like that is to me.
Like you went through a whole, like you played great, you got hurt, and you were able to get back and you won. But just like I don't want him to be done, but I feel like that would be my move. There's not many people that get to say they played their last game and it was a win.
Do you want my guess?
And it mattered. Go for it.
He comes back.
I think he does too. He's a dog.
He wants to play. He
loves it.
I just don't think he's ready to give it up. He loves it.
Yep.
I don't think he's ready to give it up. And you know when he's going to stop? When he can't play anymore. When he doesn't feel like he's contributing. That's when he won't play. And he's not there. He's not. He is so important to this team. Just him walking off the field. And I worked with him for a while, but just like knowing where he was, it's weird. At the Fanatic. Do you remember when he blocked everybody on Twitter?
Yes.
So
we talked about this.
That's right, because we were working together at the time. I was out in South Philly with Anthony and Jamie. We were on someplace in Passyunk. I don't even remember where. I don't even remember why. Might have been after Fanatic Fantasy Fest, and we went out afterwards. I guess I don't know. But I just remember someone had said something about a tweet, and I went to look at it, and I'm like,
wait, I'm blocked.
Yeah, Brandon blocked me. I'm blocked by Brandon Graham. And then I'm like, yo, and then Jamie Lynch blocked by Brandon. I don't think Anthony was on Twitter at the time. So then we started texting people and everybody was blocked by Brandon. So then I put out a tweet. Is anybody else blocked by Brandon Graham? And holy crap, this dude was blocking everybody. Right. And it's like, so I started the hashtag blocked by Brandon and everybody was being blocked by Brandon. And I couldn't have been more impressed with how he handled it because he wasn't blocking people because he was fighting with people. Any negativity towards him that he saw and Earl Thomas and anything else, he blocked it. So if you were a part of a chain, even if you weren't saying anything, he just blocked everybody because he didn't want to see the negativity. And he didn't deny it. He owned up to it.
I was definitely one of those people that was saying Earl Thomas.
Right. Yeah, you're definitely the Earl Thomas guy. Brandon Graham sucks. You idiot. How do you not draft Earl Thomas? Like, how did that work out, bro? Think about that. Think about where this dude's been. Yeah, but you weren't alone, man.
Dude, I was done when Earl Thomas got arrested. It was just like, wow, that was a terrible take.
Bro,
like
Earl Thomas was renting out like Airbnbs and banging chicks that weren't his wife, and his wife like tracked him and went there and like got arrested for assaulting him because him and his brother were filming women in these Airbnbs. Meanwhile, Brandon Graham's winning Super Bowls in Philadelphia. Like, it's the craziest turn ever. But like, I remember Brandon came in studio after that happened, and he talked about it. And he said, and I remember because we cut it and we used it as a drop. He said, "Thank you, 97.5, because we uncovered we uncovered the block by Brandon." And it was a really important moment in his career where he was like, I think it got a lot of people were like, wow, like I totally understand why he would do that. Like, wow, like that was such a human moment for Brandon to come in, because that's the kind of guy that he is. He didn't get angry at Philadelphia and I'm not talking to anybody or whatever. He actually showed his human side, which was like, yeah, like I hate seeing that. I hate seeing like Earl Thomas, you suck, Brandon Graham, or whatever. And look how he turned his career around, man. God. And just to see him coming out and he's holding up the 2 for 2 Super Bowls. Brandon Graham has won 2 Super Bowls with the Philadelphia Eagles, man. It makes me want to cry. It's just such a great story. It really is.
It's amazing.
So happy for him.
It really is. Because what? How many guys were on both teams? Just him, Lane?
Not a lot.
Elliott, and I think the long snapper, the whatever.
Lovato was on. He got tattooed the same day I did. The same place. Yeah, he was there when I was getting it done, because he came over. He's like, "Dude, what are you doing?" And I'm like, "Holy shit!" He was getting it on his rib cage. He was getting the Lombardi on his rib cage, and he looked a lot different with his shirt off than I did. He's even as a long snapper. But yeah, we got our Super Bowl tattoos the same day.
So I can't think of anyone else that was on both teams besides those 4.
You think about that. He's played more games than anybody in franchise history. And we wanted him out of town early and often.
Before the end of the first deal.
And he turned it around. And you know what? Like, he's a lock to get his number retired. A lock. 100%. Lane's a lock. Kelsey's a lock. Now you look at Jason Peters. Jason Peters really needs his number retired now you're comparing him to some of these other players.
I mean, I love Jason Peters.
He's a great player.
I'll take every single one of the guys on this offensive line, besides Becton and Kelsey, over Peters for Eagles lore.
Well, I mean, and you think they're done? They landed
exactly.
This core's winning another Super Bowl. Let's just be honest about it. They're not going anywhere.
I don't want to put the juju on it, but
they're winning another Super Bowl.
I agree with you.
And I'm not telling you that they couldn't possibly fall off and have a shitty year and then come back. I'm not telling you that.
Well, we just did that. We literally
they rebound from that. Yeah. Pinch me, Delco Steve. Pinch me.
It's awesome. It's a great time. I like you said at the start of the show, like I feel like a spoiled Eagles fan. Do I feel like the spoiled Patriots fans or like the kid that has like, oh, this is my 10th Super Bowl or my 10th championship parade sign? Like, no, I don't feel that spoiled. But like compared to a lot of the older generations that waited, 50 years to win, it's like to see 2 in the last 8 years or 7 years and, lose another one in that time frame, but like always be competitive. We're in the golden age right now of the Eagles fandom.
Man, I'm not gonna. We deserve it.
100%, 100%.
We deserve it,
especially for how our other teams freaking dog us all the time. So
yeah, I agree that he's a lock to get retired. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying I don't like. How about this? And this will be he's the best quarterback in franchise history. Like, come on! Now that we have Super Bowls behind us. Donovan McNabb having his number retired by the Eagles. You can't retire. There's too many players in football. You can't retire a lot of numbers.
I feel there's plenty. There's plenty. I'm fine with McNabb being retired. If you look at it, he's the start of this whole era. Like, he got us going in the positive direction. And that's enough for me.
I'm not telling you that Jason Peters' number isn't getting retired. I'm not telling you that the guys didn't love him. I'm just saying. He also acted kind of shitty on his way out the door, where he's like, he wouldn't move over the tackle, and Doug had to make up the story that Jason came in and hugged him and said, "I'll move over to left tackle." Well, really, he needed more money to do it. So
yeah, and that lasted a whole one game? Was that Dillard he was moving the guard for?
Yeah, I think so.
Dillard
that was a shitty time. Yeah,
that was such a bad pick.
Yeah. 12's unofficially retired for Randall. It is. 9's unofficially retired for Nick. It should be. Yeah, like Donovan's more of an unofficially retired guy. Vince, that's a great point. That's a great point. Jalen Hurts is the best quarterback in franchise history. Sorry. Like, he won a Super Bowl and went to another one. And everyone wants to be like, oh, he doesn't throw the ball. Like, come on. Like, you're telling me that Jalen Hurts isn't a major reason why they're winning Super Bowls? He's a winner, man.
Did you see that dime he dropped in the Smitty after the fourth down conversion?
Bro, like, there's a lot of quarterbacks that can make throws like that with Jalen Hurts. But Jalen, like, how he's able to get first downs with his legs, and he did that in the second half to where there was no chance the Chiefs were coming back. Like, sorry, I know that it doesn't make sense to a lot of people, and they don't understand why, or they want to put it in other departments why the Eagles are so good. Jalen Hurts is the reason why the Eagles are so good. Like, just why can't we just say that? There's have to be the reason that you want. So many people want the Eagles to win the way, and I'm not talking about locally. So many people want the Eagles to win the way they want the Eagles to win. They don't have to do that. They just prove that. So get off of it. They can run the football and win a Super Bowl and dominate in the Super Bowl. They dominated the Super Bowl.
Well, they didn't even run the ball that well.
And they couldn't run the ball in the Super Bowl. Exactly. It proves the whole point of the whole season.
It's like Saquon had 50 yards on 22 carries or something like that? I mean, I know the defense set them up beautifully a lot of times, but, they still didn't run the ball. The only rushing touchdowns were from Jalen.
All right. Well, I could talk for hours at this point with you, Delco Steve. My car got smoked in the parking lot on Monday at work by a car door.
Oh, man.
It had to be a car door. It was so windy.
Open the door, wind takes it, bang.
I gotta before I get out of here, I'm gonna get email it right now so you can see it. Yeah, so like this isn't ironically a couple, like maybe 2 months ago, a month and a half ago, I was picking up my daughter from nursery school, and it was when my wife was away on business, and I had my mom with me because she came and stayed so she could help out with the kids while I had to go to work and stuff. So so like we get out, so she came with me to pick up Bella, and she opens up the door, and maybe has it ever been this windy for a winter? No. What is going on? It sucks.
I swear to God, the last 5 years, because like where I moved up to my house, it's on an end, and so I'm just exposed to like all the wind. Every year for the last 5 years, I swear to God, it just gets worse and worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. It's insane. All my furniture on my deck is blown to the backside of my deck because the wind just sails it.
Bro, I have a flat iron grill that I had on my driveway. And the wheels were locked and it had a grill cover on it. And the wind blew this freaking thing into the yard and the grill cover is gone. That's like a $50 grill cover is gone. I don't know where the hell
it's a kite somewhere.
Bro, the trash cans are thrown everywhere. Like, oh my God.
Dude, I lost a Super Bowl shirt that I ordered because of the wind on Monday. I'm so pissed.
Well, you should get that back.
I have a thing. I had to wait till today to see if I didn't get it. And I'm like, come on.
So my wife, who does the everylittle-detail.com, so she gets like prints that she puts on shirts and stuff all the time. And they come in these like longer, skinny boxes via UPS. And one of the UPS drivers, we have like 2 or 3 of them that are regulars. One of them is a sports radio listener, so he knows me and he's always talking to me. I hope it wasn't him because I'd be pissed. I don't know what idiot did it, but it was like during the windy day, he put this light box just on the front step.
Stood it straight up.
Well, he could have put it. He could have stood on his head and put it wherever he wanted to. The thing didn't even last 30 seconds, and it was gone. So then my wife's like, UPS delivered it like 5 minutes ago because like we see the camera. We're out there, it's gone. So now I'm searching around in the freaking yard and the neighbor's yard. I'm finding mail from a street like 2 streets over. I'm finding mail in my front yard. I'm like, oh, I'm never gonna find this. I did find it, like down by the pond, like probably like 500 yards away. I found the freaking thing. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, well, this hoodie. So I was backing into my parking spot out back my house, and the hoodie was in my parking spot out back my house, and so like I had 3 things coming that day. So I go running out front, scoop like there was one in the like by the front steps that goes down to like the sidewalk. Scoop that up, and there's one in the door. I'm like, all right, great. There's all 3. Throw them in the house. Go do what I was doing. Well, when I opened it later, one was Erica's thing. I'm like, man. So like one of mine was gone, and then I was talking to her when she got home. She's like, oh, I had another one too. So we lost 2 shirts in the shipping in the wind on Monday.
Was it UPS?
No, it's whatever. It's some Bobo thing that NFL.com uses. I've never even heard of it before.
So all you just call it. You just got to tell them like, hey, yo, I didn't get my packages and they don't have a signature. That's on them. Like
that's what I said. I messaged them. I messaged them Monday. I'm like, it says delivered, but I didn't receive it. And they're like, oh, well, it says it was delivered. I'm like, yeah, I know. Like that's
it said it was delivered. Where's the signature? There's wind. That's on you. It's on you. It's on you.
They said if it doesn't come by Wednesday, they'll refund it or send a new one. So I'm like, all right, great. So I have to sit on there tomorrow with them and get it figured out.
All right, so here I'm going to share the screen here. Hopefully you can pop this up, and then I have a lot of complaints from this week, but I'm already out of it. All right, I got to do one more before we get out of here. I talked about it today on Philly. No, I want to share screen. Sorry, it's been a while. I'm rusty here. Nope. It's a Control S. What are we doing here? What are you doing here, Delco Steve?
Well, just go to present and share screen.
Is that what you do? Oh, okay. All right. Thank you.
Yep.
All right. Here it is. So, yeah. So when I was in. So I was saying with my mom. So the door blows open, hits the car, right? Like, hit it pretty good. The woman's in the car. So she's like, oh my God. It's like, well, this is my car. I'm the sitter. So, and she's like, I'm like, well, just take my number. Like, and I went over and I looked. I'm like, all right, there's a little ding there, but it's not like this, dude. Like, that is, like, look at that, man. And there's one up top here. So there's that.
Yep.
And then there's this. And I got to take it to Jamie. I got to take it to Central City Toyota. And so there's like red paint and stuff. So like, that's a door, right? That's a door, like, bang my car.
That would make sense to me.
All right. Well, great.
Sorry. not that I helped you.
No, I know. I knew it was the door, but the only thing it could have happened was because I noticed it after I left the lot. So yeah, that was it.
Were you at daycare? You were picking the kids up at daycare?
No, that's where I hit the other woman's car. That was a ding. This was a PHLY.
They don't have cameras in the parking lot?
No. On Spring Garden and 10th, they don't have cameras in the parking lot, and cars have been broken into before. Like, they're that big of losers that they like. Seriously, I have cameras all over my property. You're friggin' you own a building with cars are getting broken into. You can't put a couple cameras up there. Yeah, I'm so mad they don't have cameras up there. They're losers. Anyway. All right, dude. Delco Steve, how's Erica? How's the baby coming along?
Good. Everything's good. We got an appointment next week for our next ultrasound thing.
How many weeks are we?
20. Or no, 19. 20 next week.
I'm glad you know that.
I do know it.
That's so exciting for me. That means that your girlfriend is really pregnant because you know how many weeks along you are, and they go very quickly.
They don't in this house.
Oh, is that right?
No. I mean, thank God for the Super Bowl because the time's been moving so slow.
But you're second trimester now, right?
It's 15. No, everything's fine. Like, no, we're good. Like, everything's great. Like, everything's smooth sailing. It's just like, holy crap, is the clock like not moving? Like the days go by like normal, but the cumulative time does not seem like it's going by at all. That's where we're at. So
right.
Hopefully it'll pick up.
All right. We're gonna have a public baby shower for baby Jalen. Are you gonna name your son after one of the Eagles?
I think we're going with Cooper. I think Cooper's gonna be it.
Are you serious?
Yep. Yeah, because so we were between Nico and Cooper were our two that we were between. I was more Nico, she was more Cooper. And we said before the Super Bowl, if Cooper scores a touchdown, we'll go with Cooper.
All right, so hold on. When are you? When this is all seriousness? When are you available to come in next week and co-host? Yeah, you gotta come down. Any day? Give me the day you want to do it.
I could do Monday, probably.
Can you do Monday?
Yeah.
All right, you're in. Monday.
All right.
There it is. I need the story because I just talked about it today.
All right.
I just said that we just said that Cooper is going to be the number one kid name because Carson, even after he didn't play in the Super Bowl, but I have friends that name their sons or daughter Carson, and I was like, and then after everything happened, I'm like, yeah, that's why you don't name your kid after a loser like Carson Wentz. They're like, well, we didn't really name him after Carson Wentz. I'm like, oh, you're so full of shit. Yes, you did. Sure, it's like the name's fine. You didn't name him Doug after Doug Peterson.
It's like I'm hoping like as of right now, it's like I'm game for it, but it's like if there's 50 Coopers that I know in the next 5 months, then it's just like I don't know. But yeah, so right now that's where we're at because we both bet him to score a touchdown, so that was fun. So like it's like my favorite number's 33. It kind of lines up.
All right, I know Chauncey. Oh, Chauncey. Delco Chauncey.
No. Cooper Chauncey Gallo.
All right. Monday, book it. Tell me if you can't do it because I'm gonna put you on the schedule right now.
I'll figure it out tomorrow.
All right. Well, just let me know if you can't do it. Otherwise, you're on for Monday. All right.
Sounds good.
All right. Well, we'll talk to everybody. Appreciate it. We'll talk about that later. All right, Delco Steve. Peace, man.
Peace out.
See you, everybody.